Hi, good day to all. This is Cryptodragonis from the BRAVA NFT and Cool Lady Club team, and it's amazing to have you guys over here. I'm really excited about today's conversation on Friday Zoom Meet and Greet. Friday Zoom Meet and Greets from BRAVA NFT is where we talk to phenomenal artists, people who are game changers in the Web3 and NFT industry. And really, because we are so early on in the space, I really like conversing with innovators because it's also, the next 1 hour becomes a brainstorming session for all of us where we pool all our brains together and ideas together and come up with something exciting. And today I've got Mayor O2, or Mayor of OU, that's his Twitter handle, with us. And he's a photography tutor, he's a published documentary photographer, and he's using NFTs to drive social good, specifically to bring water to communities in Nigeria. So without much further ado, hi, Mayor O2. It's lovely to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be here. It's a privilege, always asked to come talk about the work we do and the impact that we are trying to create with the gifts that we have. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I'm excited, and I hope that through the course of the conversation, people can learn, people can actually be inspired to do more, and people can actually get the motivation to stay longer. Because sometimes to win, you have to stay longer. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you again for having me.
Yeah, I really love that. I personally believe that if you want to go faster, then you go alone. But if you want to go further, then you do it together. And before we go on, I'd really like to look at one of the videos from your website. As cute as that video is, I think the reality is a little bit more harsh. The fact is that diseases from dirty water kill more people every year and than any form of violence in this world. So 43% of the deaths involve children who are under 5 years old, like the cute boy that you saw in the video. And access to clean water and basic sanitation can actually save around 16,000 lives every single week. And we are looking at, in my background, actually, photographs that Mayor Otto has shot. And they are real boys from the villages, from the communities that Mayor Otto worked with. Tell us a little bit more about the video. I know this was a partnership project with another organization because you want to take the entire cause further. And tell me about the photos that are right behind me, because they are amazing.
Yeah, about the photographs, right? First off, I am a documentary photographer. I am very committed to telling stories about my people. I'm from Nigeria, West Africa, so I'm committed to telling my story and the story of my people. For the project, I could give a backstory, right? In 2019, that was when all of this started, when I actually did a project, a personal project it was. You know, as documentary photographers, we go on documentary trips, we pay our way, we fund, build this body of work. So I went to this community in Abuja. Abuja is the capital city in Nigeria. So in the outskirts of that, in outskirts of Abuja, there's this community where they have cattle rearers and all of that, settlement for cattle rearers, and they don't have clean water. And it's been like that since maybe 1912. So they have not had access to clean drinking water. And actually did a photo story about it. I shared it on Twitter, on Instagram. I remember Water Aid, an international water organization, reached out and told me that the images were so powerful, but they couldn't help me at that time because of budget issues and all of that. I came on Twitter, and luckily for me and the community, actually, a commercial bank in Nigeria, Sterling Bank, actually saw the photographs. They are not the one behind you. That was in 2019. So when they saw the images, they said, oh, they want to be a part of it. So that was how, from the photographs I made in that community in Abuja, a commercial bank in Nigeria, Sterling Bank, actually built that community a borehole, so they don't have access to clean drinking water. You know how social media is. So once that caught up, a lot of people now reached out to me, send emails, send me DMs. I should come to their own community, that they also lack access to clean drinking water. It wasn't something I was paying attention to, like normal Nigerians or everybody. We don't pay attention to things that are not affecting us directly, right? So not until that I went to that community, I photographed and they got water. I started now to do research about the water conditions in Nigeria. Then I found out that the United Nations says that over 70 million people living in Nigeria do not have access to clean drinking water. And it occurred to me like 70 million. That's a lot of people without access to clean drinking water. So that one was a success in 2019. So more communities now started coming. Yo, man, you come and take photos from us too now, from our community, you give us water and all of that. So that was how I started. I'll save up money from commission work. Once I make money from commission project, I'll go to communities, photograph, and get them water. Since 2019, we have done 2 projects already. So this community is in Enugu State, Southeast Nigeria. It's called Uzamagu Community. I went there earlier this year. That was in March, I think. Yeah, I went there earlier this year in March. And the idea was to do what I do, right? Because before now, I didn't learn about the NFTs. I was just using photography, crowdfunding to give communities clean water. So I go to my friends and I ask them to contribute. I go to these organizations and I ask them to support and all of that. So when I learned about the NFTs in 2021, December, I'm like, oh, that's great. You know, I don't have to be begging people for $10 a day, $15 a day, $100 a day. I could easily just make photographs, which are photographs that if other nonprofits like the youth and UNICEF, they hire me, I make this kind of photograph and I make money from it, right? So why not me make these photographs and use the photographs from the people from that community to then make it turn it into NFTs. So when they actually buy it, I can use 100% of the funds to actually give the community water. Because I can use my personal funds to make my travels. I can use my personal funds to do accommodations and all of that, right? So that was how this community came about. Someone from Twitter also shared, like every other person shared in their community. So when I look at when I'm going to a community, it's like, what's the number of young people? What is the number of children in this community? What's the number of women? Because they are the most vulnerable when it comes to waterborne diseases, right? So this particular community struck me because the water is terrible. If you look at what they are holding in their hands, is the water fetched from where they take to drink, where they take to cook, where they take to shower. It's from where they actually do all of those things. So for someone like me who wouldn't even use this kind of water to wash my feet, right? And these are people in the community, this is all they have to drink. And they'll have to use a purifier called alum. So with this purifier, they put inside this water and it settles the dust, the dirty part of the water. Maybe in the next 2 hours, they can now use, it's still not clean water, right? So I went to the community. I spent a week there. I think in monetary value, I actually spent almost $1,000 of my personal money, from flight to accommodation, to bringing the team and all of that. So if you look at the pictures, these are where they are fetching it from, right? That's basically where they fetch it from. Like if you see like the boy or the girl fetching to a rubber there, it's dirty water and they don't have any other option. So I went there, I lived in this community for 1 week, and it actually changed everything about how I looked at it. And I'm saying to myself, if I could actually use NFTs, I could actually use it to make these people fetch water. Behind this photograph you're looking at is where they fetch the water. So during dry season, there is no water. You can see the rocks behind, right? So this place only collects water when it's rainy season. And once it's rainy season, it collects the water, and the water is still not clean, right? So in dry season, you can see it's rocky all up because there is no water there. So my idea was just to make this photograph and make sure that people, when they collect it, we can use the funds to give them clean water. This photograph, this was the first one that they collected. Thanks to my first collector, unknown collector. He collected this particular piece, and in his way of supporting us in also giving this community access to clean water. So for this community, it would take about $3,500 to drill the borehole, because the distance to drill the water, because of that topography and you see the rocky environment that they live in, it makes it harder to actually find water. It would take like it's like 296 feet beneath the surface of the earth before you can find water. But the one we did in Abuja was about 150 feet before we found water. This one is 290 feet. So because of the depth, it's actually more costly. And that's why the community cannot even afford to contribute to build themselves a borehole. Because if they are using a normal well, nobody can dig up to 290 feet. It's not possible. So when because I paid a neuroscientist to look at a geophysicist. That's the name of the person that did it. So I paid a geophysicist about $250 to do the soil test and analysis. So from the results he came back with is what we now know that, oh, this is how much it would cost for us to build a borehole for this community and give them clean water. So yeah, that's the story behind the Zomago community and the images that actually made up my first collection, which I named The Water of Zomago. This particular image is from the Abuja trip that I mentioned, that the first one community that I did personally, and the bank actually took up and built them a borehole. This is their source of water. They drink from here, they wash from here, they shower from here. They are cattle, the cows, the ram, they drink from here too. So it's not healthy. But I'm so glad that that's not the story of these children anymore, that this particular community at Katampe in Abuja, Nigeria, actually has access to clean drinking water.
And as human beings, we are touched by stories every single day. We see stories, emotional stories every single day, whether it's through the news, whether it's through social media, whether it's through ads, NFT projects, or whether when we see movies, documentaries. But very few of us actually do something about the stories that we see or that we learn about. So there must be some spark that has ignited within you when you heard about something like that? And you said that, you know, I'm not going to leave it to the government, or I'm not going to leave it to the authorities, or I'm not going to leave it to established NGOs to take care of something like that. I'm literally going to go on ground and deal with this in a way that I know best. So when did that spark happen? When did that turning point happen?
Okay, I think I would say from the very start of my career, I've always been drawn to stuff like this, right? So I grew up a church boy, and early enough, I used to join the evangelism team of my church to go out on outreaches, right? So during outreaches, you actually meet a lot of people that you're trying to share the gospel with and all of that. So I understood people's pain, right? And all I could do at that point was just to share the gospel, because that's what we did at that time. So fast forward to when I now became a photographer, I was still drawn to people. I was still drawn to actually having conversations with people, building relationship with people on the street. So easily I can just walk up to somebody I never met, and before you know it, the person is telling me stories or things that ordinarily would not tell other people, right? Because, so it was like a burden, like you have a gift, photography, and you understand how to listen to people. And because when it comes to listening, it's about listening with your eyes and listening with your ears, right? So I figured out that once you listen with your eyes, it means that you see someone. You're telling the person, I see you, I recognize you, I see what you're going through. I might not be in the same position like you, but I see what you're going through, and it is valid. And when you're listening to them by actually listening with your ears, you're picking up the things that matters to them in the way their tone, their voices sound. So when you're having a conversation with somebody, it feels that you are there at that point, you are there. Like they have your attention, right? So my ability to find all of those things together and add with my photography, and I realized that I could do more than just taking pictures. I could do more than just going around taking pictures, maybe making money for myself alone, right? But I can also make money for myself with my photography. And during other times, I can also use that photography to change someone else's life who ordinarily wouldn't have actually have their life changed, or their situation wouldn't have been noticed by other people. Because once you are in a place that you have maybe a gift or maybe a place of influence, your job is to use that your influence to showcase people who do not have that kind of reach that you have. So these people might not get the attention of other people, right? Because they are in the rural places. People don't barely visit there. But I have a platform where my voice is stronger because I am this kind of person in the industry. So if I show this story, people will take it more seriously, right? People that know me, that know what I stand for, but you say, oh, that's true. Mayor is always about this kind of stuff. So they'll support them because of me. So at that point, early on, I realized that I could change someone's life with just a photograph, right? In 2020, during the pandemic, I actually raised over $36,000, right? For a woman that was having issues with 2 of her kidneys failed. So their family members and their friends actually wanted to tell stories that could actually drive awareness so that they could raise funds. And I'm glad that they talked to me about it because they are my followers. So I went there, I documented it. And I remember she saying that she was on national TV and nobody has actually reached out to support her. What will Mayor photographs do, right? And in my heart, I knew that it's not just the photographs, it's how the photographs are made. It's how intimate the photographs look. It's how you're able to communicate empathy, right? Not pity. There's a difference between pity and empathy, right? So your ability to communicate empathy in the images, that's why people would support. I remember she sent me a message the first day that the story went out on my Instagram, that she just got $100 donation. She couldn't believe it, that my photographs could do that. And that project went along to raise over $30,000, like I've mentioned, right? So I know that my pictures, my photography can actually do more for people, right? So I'm now consciously putting myself, aligning myself to that vision, to that dream that the world could be a better place, right? And there are other people like me who wants to help. They are not photographers. They might not be storytellers. Some of them are into other forms of art. Some of them are just collectors. Some of them are just people who want to support. Some of them are patrons. They just want to come in contact with something they believe in and they want to support. So that actually opened up my mind that, oh, since there are other people like me, I have to find them. So that was how it all started. I believe that I could change the world with my gift. That is not a gift until it's shared. Nothing is a gift until it's shared. So now I'm sharing my gift with them. It's changing their lives. So I realized that I could do more, and not just changing their own life, but changing and transforming the lives of the people that come across my work and support these people too, out of the place they are.
You know, just hearing you speak, Mayor Otto, I understand you're not just a very passionate person, but you have a very, very clear vision of what you want to do. I see you're a very driven person. You are somebody who doesn't wait for something to happen. You go in there, you're a go-getter. And I also always have felt that to empower a community, you need to be an empowered person yourself. Let's start with being an artist and being a photographer, being a creative, because the story that we always see is, you know, people always talk about a starving artist. You know, nobody speaks about a starving doctor, a starving engineer, you know, or a starving politician, because these are money-making jobs. But when it comes to actually being a creative person, everyone has this mentality in mind that you have to struggle to get to where you are. So let's talk about that a little bit, and also talk about the fact that before you came into the NFT space, you seem to already have a very strong community support, which has really gathered speed for you. So you almost touched the ground running when it came to, or at least that's what I get. Tell us a little bit more about those things.
Okay, I will talk about the idea of being a struggling artist and how to overcome that. The truth is, most creators, most creatives, we are most interested in the art. We are 100% in creating, but we forget that there is a business side of things, right? There is the art and there is the business. And, you know, the people that have the money made it in such a way that we are wired to think that if you ask for money as a creative, you're no longer a creative, you are sold out, right? So they want you to continually be in poverty so that you don't have the confidence in your work for you to ask for a particular fee, right? So once you understand that this life is set up that way, people who have the money look at the creator. You're supposed to be creating. Forget about the money. Create for creating's sake. Create because it will make you happy. Create because that's your passion. But they forget that creators still have to pay bills. Creators still have to provide for their families. Creators still have to take care of themselves. Creators still have to support other people, right? So you need to understand that fact. That whatever you do, whether you're a painter, a digital artist, you're a potter, you're a photographer, you're a videographer, whatever creative music. In music, there is something that's called music business. It is music first, the art, then the business. So once you understand that in the creative industry, there is the money part. Money is exchanging hands, right? So you need to understand, while you're also building your craft, the skill, you need to also build another skill, which is not the technical skills, like in the case of photography, how to photograph, how to light, how to retouch, how to do all of those things. But the other side of the skills, which is communication skills, which is people skills, which is marketing skills, which is sales skills, which is advertising skills, all those other things that makes up business. Once you figure out those two parts, the next thing is for you to ask yourself, am I cut out to do both? Because if you're not cut out to do both, it's okay. All you just need to do is to hire someone who will take up the business side for you and take a certain percentage of the business while you take care of the art, right? So you don't talk business, you're just the art person, but you make sure that someone that understands business, but understands numbers, do the business side for you, so you don't have to be the struggling artist, right? Or if you cannot get the person, you can actually learn how to do it. First of all, you need to learn how to be confident in yourself as a person, because I always tell people pricing and how you price your work, first of all, is not the quality of your work. It is how far or how much you believe in yourself as a person. So if you do not believe in yourself so much as a person, you always subcharge yourself. You will not always charge what you're worth because you do not even know your worth in the first place, right? So you need to, first of all, deal with the internal things. You're good enough. You're, as a person, not as an artist, as an individual, you're good enough. You're brilliant enough. You're beautiful enough. You're handsome enough. Your brain is good enough to acquire knowledge. If you have to get to that point where you know that you as an individual, you're good. Then as an artist, you have to level up your skill set so that you know, as let's say basic industry standard when it comes to do what you do, that you are there. So someone will not say that your images are not well exposed. Someone will not say that your images are not well composed. Someone will not say, in photography, I mean, that you're not using composition well, you're not using framing well, and all of those things, right? So once you've finished with your person, you are confident as a person. You build up your skill set as an artist, then you're confident as an artist because you know the work you put out is at least equal to the industry best practices. The next part is for you to build the business side of it. So that I know I am good. So if for example, you tell me, Mayor, your work is not good, it has nothing to do with me as an individual. You're not talking to Mayor because you don't know Mayor. So when someone say to an artist, your work is not good enough, they're not talking to you as a person. So you need to separate you as a person. That's why I started with saying, I am good enough. I am beautiful. I'm handsome. My brain can articulate things. So when you say my work is not good enough, I'm not bothered because you don't know me, right? So it has nothing to crush my ego here or make me feel a type of way. Then I now look at it from the artist's perspective. Did I create with the gear that I have the best possible way to create? And if I did that and it's standard practice, what you say doesn't affect me. So you can't now price me down and say the images are not good. For example, let me bring this issue to you. So the images on the back could go on any newsletter, any calendar, any outdoor advertising. It's the same way I set up and shoot for commercial gigs and commercial work. It's the same way I shoot my personal work like this. So I come into, and they pay thousands of dollars for it, for commercial work. But I now come into NFTs because I'm actually trying to use it to help communities. Then a collector somewhere would tell me that it's too pricey. That is not of that standard. Why should I price it at 0.58? I should take it to 0.0048. You can't tell me that because I know the value of the work I put out, right? I know the value of the work I put out. So whatever you say does not affect how I want to price what I price. I'll just tell you, oh, sorry, you're not for me. Maybe the person that would be for me would come and say, thank you for looking at it, and I move, because I know you are not my client, right? So I think once you get to those spaces by yourself as an artist, you now get to know, this is what I am worth. And if I'm going to go below that, I am giving you a discount, not because I feel that my art is lower priced or is not up to standard, but because I want to give you this value on a subsidized rate. That's why I mentioned that you need to talk to someone that understands business and numbers so that you know how to negotiate. Because when someone is trying to talk you down about your work, is a strategy when it comes to negotiation. They want to beat your self-confidence down first before they now give you the price they want. Because once your self-confidence is down, you cannot want to charge more for more money, right? So it's the strategy in business. So I think creators, artists, you can actually learn to separate those three things, and you actually not be a starving artist. Ask for your money with your chest, with your full chest. If someone says no, and especially when you've actually upped your skill to a certain level, let the person walk, right? And I think that's it. Can I remind you the second part of the question, please? I think I got all on and on.
No, you really, I mean, these were nuggets of gold that you had just dropped in, and super grateful. You covered all the questions that I had in mind, and really some of the things that you had just said. Just scrolling through Mayor Otu's Twitter feed, it's not a lot of selling over there. It's not a lot of shilling over there. It's not a lot of come and buy my work. This is 0.5. You know, there's not a come and buy. That's not the call to action over there. Really, it's a lot of threads about improving photography. It's about connecting people. It's about empowering others. It's about sharing photography knowledge. And I think just looking at what someone posts, you can, people have this sense of smelling somebody's fear or even smelling somebody's strength just by reading what they post, don't you think?
Very true, very true. Because I always tell people there are verbal communications and there are non-verbal communication. What you say and not say tells a lot about you. What you write and not write tells a lot about you. How you write it or how you say it tells a lot about you. If you're not confident enough, you actually be saying things like someone that is not confident. And if you're confident, you'll be saying and writing and doing things as someone that is comfortable. And when you mention that I don't do the salesy thing, the truth is, you need to understand that there is a difference between marketing, advertising, and sales. So what I do on my page majorly is marketing. Marketing is for the group of people that want what I do. I share with them valuable information that would help them become better, thereby building trust, right? So the people that I mentioned that actually donated up to $30,000 for this woman for the kidney stuff, they were most of my followers on Instagram, right? And on Instagram, I do not even have up to 10,000 followers. I don't have up to 10,000 followers. But they raise that money because I have built a relationship with them over time, right? So marketing is about building relationship so that when it is time for sale, they will be the one asking you, what should we buy? How can we help? How do we support? But when you're trying to jump from, you're not selling, right? You're not even building relationship. You're not doing the market part. You're trying to sell. It is at that point that people will now say, I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy. But for what I do personally, I think about it as sharing knowledge. sharing my experiences. So if I go to a community and photograph, I talk about my experience in that community. If my camera gets bad on a shoot, I talk about it and how you could do to overcome it. If I work for a nonprofit, I talk about how a nonprofit can do better, leverage on content creation and the kind of photographs that will actually give them more attention, more awareness, and actually raise money for them, right? So I'm trying to help. So you have to think about it that way. The idea is to create content that helps people. And that's marketing. So that when it's time for you now to ask them, sometimes you don't even need to ask them, they will be the ones to ask you, how can I help? Right? So at that point, they are sold to you. People don't understand that. People are not sold to your images. People are sold to you as an individual, as an artist. People want to buy from you as an artist because it's you, right? So you need to create as much value as you can to your personality as an artist. That's where the personal branding comes in. So that someone wants to own a million or two photographs, because owning a million or two photograph puts you in a certain group of people. And for me, those group of people are people that want to change the world. So if you own any of my photographs, you are a part of the people that want to change the world. If you own a Picasso painting, you are a part of a certain group of people. If you own any of these artists, you belong to a certain group of people. So that's what I think more creators should do when they are trying to market. Give people an opportunity to be a part of something so that they feel that most of us, we are music lovers, right? There are some people that are the Beehive, the Beyonce followers. So even Beyonce comes out with a whistling and says that's track one, people would still buy the album. Not because the album is so great. No, it's because it's Beyonce's album. She has put a lot in building the relationship between her and the fans, so much that they trust that whatever she brings out is good for them. So I think that's how people should go about that part.
That's 100% true. I completely believe in this. I love this quote which says that people don't buy products, they actually like to buy better versions of themselves. So when you paint a picture for them of what their future could be or how they could be a better version for themselves, is what they buy into. People buy into the dream. Long ago, I think when iPod had launched years and years ago, when a lot of us were still teenagers or kids, Steve Jobs did not sell it as a 1 GB storage MP3 player. He said 1,000 songs in your pocket. And I think that's marketing. If he had done it as a 1 GB and the technicalities of stuff, and a lot of projects right here today in the NFT space, that's what they are really looking at. They are looking at talking about the back end information and why the roadmap is so important and everything. But really, I think the story is powerful.
People will always remember stories. That's how human beings learn. Human beings learn via stories. So in as much as you want to do the technical stuff, find ways you could put it in a story. All the stories that our grandparents told us when we were younger, we still remember it to today, right? So people are drawn to stories because stories bring emotions, and people only know how to communicate at that level of emotion. That's why stories work for humans. Humans communicate at a level of emotions. So once you're able to incorporate emotions into your stories, people would buy into it. And people, I could say that pity is an emotion, but pity is not the emotion you want. Because I always use the example, if you see someone on the street begging for money and asking you, come on, give me this money, I'm broke, I'm this, it's harder for you to give to the person. Maybe you could give the person the first time. If you see the person the next time, you not give to the person again, right? Because the first time you saw the person, it wasn't empathy, it was pity. So you felt pity for the person. You said, oh, let me help this person out. The next time you see the person again, and the person says the same thing to you, you actually, why are you still here? So it's the first thing in your head, like, yo, why are you still here? You should do something better for yourself, right? But if it's empathy, you're like, if you see the person again, in fact, you want to see the person again, because now you go to talk to your friends about it. Like, I met this guitar person, it was this person, do you know he's homeless, but he actually made some great music, and we had this very good conversation with, I hope that the next time we go to the city town or city square, that you could come with me, maybe we could run into the person. You're bringing your friends to it. That's not pity, that's empathy. If it's pity, you tell your friends, avoid going to that street corner, that guy that's always begging money is around that place. So that's different, how to use those emotions in actually doing what you do and bringing people to like what you do.
I love that we had veered the conversation into stories, because I think this is something that Cleet, our storyteller here, would really appreciate. For example, just looking at this picture of Favor, this amazing girl over here, and I love all the descriptions of your pictures over here. So I'm just going to quickly read through this. Favor is a twin. They were born in Uzamagu village about 11 years ago, but she had not seen clean drinking water in her village. So on the last day of my 1-week trip to the village, Favor and her twin Precious came to me and asked, "We hope you are coming back. And when you come back, we hope you will bring us clean drinking water." It was a difficult question coming from these young kids. Do you write the copy and the description for these pictures yourself? Because I think this really, it's more than the picture, just looking. I think I've never enjoyed really reading descriptions of pictures in OpenSea more than I have in your collection.
So yeah, I write the captions myself. The idea is always, I felt a certain way when I was making the photograph. I felt a certain way when I was in the community. My job as a good storyteller is to make sure when you see the image, I want you to feel the exact same way I felt. So success to me is when I'm able to bring the emotions I felt while photographing to you, millions of miles away, to feel the same thing as if you were there. So sometimes I do interviews, I use my recorder, I do the interview so that I can remember the names, and most of the time, okay, another one. I started as a street photographer, right? So I always tell people, I never photograph anybody on the street that I didn't have a conversation with them. Nobody. Everybody I've ever photographed, I have had a conversation with them. I can actually look at the picture and I tell you their names, right? Because I'm that invested in who they are so that I will be able to represent them well. It would have just been a random picture of somebody, but now you know that Favor has a twin. The twin is Precious. Now you'll be asking me, so where is Precious in all of this? It's me trying to bring what I learned in that community, how I felt while I was doing the project to you, right, sitting down there, so that you feel the same way I felt, right? And once I go back, I listen to the interviews I recorded, I relive the experience all over again, and I try writing. And it's a skill I picked up when I was, because before I was a photographer, I actually was writing for an entertainment magazine. So I have, over the years, I've actually gotten a lot of skills of so many things, right? So I've done so many things in my life that have actually helped me become this person. At some point, I did radio. At some point, I did TV. So I know how to interview people. I know how to get people to tell me things. Like I mentioned earlier, I was in the evangelism team, so I know how to meet strangers and talk to strangers. And I did the writing gig with the magazine, so I know how to write stories. I know how to come up with writings. I actually figured that out, right? So now with all of those skills, I can now sit back, listen to what I recorded, know when to record and not when to record, know some experiences I want to enjoy by myself and I don't want to share. So it lives with me, right? And I don't want to photograph it, I don't want to share it. and I know the ones that I want to share. So I sit back, listen to it, write up these captions, get to my wife, my partner. She now gets to edit it for me because she did mass communication, because I'm like really passionate about the writing. So I'll write a whole lot, and she'll be like my editor now. Or now you can say this in one word. So I'll now find a phrase for it. You can say this in one sentence. So like that, so that it will be easier for people to read and easy for them to understand what I mean, and at the same time to transfer the emotions that I want.
Let's look at your website once again, because I'm very interested in how you managed to secure partners for your project to take this journey further. And you have big dreams, you have a big roadmap, and you want to make sure that a project like this, that your vision impacts not just Nigeria, but across communities all around the world as well. So let's talk about the Metawater project. And while I say this, I encourage people who are here on the Zoom call to start thinking about the questions that you would like to ask Mayor or towards the end of this call. In a little bit, Clete, yes, I see your hand up, but we will start taking questions in about a couple of minutes and then try to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. So yeah, let's please do share about the Metawater project with us, Mayor.
Okay, so about the Metawater project, once I learned about NFTs and how it works, I actually had to talk to a few people and get to know how the industry works. Because once you're in a place that is new, you have to learn the workings of the place for you to have maximum results, right? So I learned about projects, I learned about the PFT project, I learned about a lot of other projects, right? And luckily for me, the guy that owns Afrodroids, which is actually a co-founder here, the Afrodroids actually was a very successful project in the NFTs world, right? And after that, they actually helped, I think they helped one non-profit build an art school in Nigeria from ground up. And buying land and building in Nigeria costs a lot of money, and especially in Lagos, because Lagos is a commercial city in Nigeria. So buying a property here, a land here to build, that's a big deal, right? So those guys, Afrodroids, they actually did that, supported that foundation. So I actually realized that the person that is the founder of Afrodroids is actually a friend from my place where I come from. So I hit him up like, yo, bro, this is what I am planning to do, right? This is what I have been doing for the NFTs. This is what I want to do inside the NFTs. What do you think we could do? So we went on a call and we talked through the things, and he said, oh, I could actually, what do we need to do? So it was strategy session. So we need someone in the marketing. We need someone in the technical part that could build us the website. We need someone as an animator. We need someone that could handle the Discord. And we need other partners in the space that we play in, right? So at that point, we now start talking to people. We started, because he has had a very successful project with Afrodroid. So he had people who believes in him, right? So I now leverage on that relationship to actually have his contact. So he got people that got people. That's how we build partnership. Like I mentioned before, you don't have to do everything, right? You just have to find people that have the same kind of dream with you. He wants to change the world. I want to change the world. But I want to do it differently. He wants to do it differently. But if we come together, we can build something better. That's how we came up with the Metawater project, which is not just for Nigeria. Because for me, it's for Nigeria. Now Metawater project is actually a global thing. Because if, let's say, it's 1 billion people in the world that don't have access to clean drinking water. 1 billion, right? So it's a lot of people, and we need more people. We need to build this project to be a lot bigger than what it should be for Nigeria alone. Because there are communities in Ghana, West Africa, there are communities in Congo, there are communities in Kenya, East Africa, there are communities in Guatemala and South America. They are everywhere. People don't have clean water, right? So we are trying to build something that with this collective, right, we could have like a DAO. So what the DAO would now do is to fund different water projects simultaneously. So it's not just funding in Nigeria and waiting for one like Zamago to finish before we can now find money to do. But since we have a bulk of the money, we now have a DAO that now decide, let's go to this other community because they have more children and more women that'll be affected by this water crisis, and we go there. So it's that partnership, and we did with Water is Life Foundation. You could check them out, Google them. They are big organizations that have been giving water in different communities across all the continents in the world. So, right, so finding those strategic partnership is helping us reach more people than we could normally do. Because if we raise, let's say, $1 million US, $2 million US, right? We have people in, like, let's say the Water is Life, and they have people on ground on different countries that we can fund through the Meta Water project. So this partnership will help us fund more projects in more cities, so that what can be achieved in Nigeria can be achieved in Cuba, can be achieved in Ecuador, could be achieved in Kenya, could be achieved in Mozambique, in Morocco, and other places, right? So that we can have a global impact, because that's what NFTs is all about. Having people all across the world to come together for a greater good. So this good shouldn't just be for a physical location because I am Nigerian, because I live in Nigeria, so I should just do it for Nigeria alone. It shouldn't be like that, because the same kids that are suffering from this lack of water in South America are the same kids in Nigeria that's suffering from this water, are the same kids in the inner cities, even in the United States, that don't have access to clean water, right? It doesn't change. Whether they are kids from any part of this world, it does not change anything. So the idea is to use the DAO, to use the DAO of the Meta Water project, get this accumulated fund through the partnership with the Water is Life and the Givewaterng Foundation, so that, because they have people that drill the water, they have the staff, they have the machinery. All we do is to fund them through these channels. And we know because they have done it over time. That means that they are reliable. Because the thing about the NFTs is that people want to see their money work. People want to see their money being used for what they said would be used for. So we can only trust people that have done this over time. That's why we are not just partnering with normal people. We are partnering with NGOs who have the integrity, and they have done it over time, and people know them. So they won't just take the money or run away or something like that. This is their life. This is what they do. So we use our funds through their channels and give more people clean water, because at the end of the day, we want to reduce that number from 1 billion people worldwide. So maybe nobody, so that everybody around the world can have access to clean drinking water. So that's our dream and our mission at Meta Water Project.
Such a pleasure having you here today, Mayor Otu. And it really, this is something that really resonates with me, is the NFT space is something that you can use where you can gather collective thoughts, collective innovation, collective leadership, partnerships, as well as talents, so that you can amplify whatever that is that you had set out to do. And the space is just so brilliant for that. With our project, BRAVA NFT, the artist is from Mexico. Myself, I'm Singaporean and sitting here in the UAE. And then we've got community members from all across the world. Our charity partnership is with an organization in Mexico, which we had already fulfilled. But right now we are deploying actual soldiers who are community members all around the world. So each month they actually take up an event or organize a particular event in their hometown, in their home city. And what they do is create awareness about gender-based violence, sexual violence, and domestic violence. And the NFT project actually has started funding these people as much as we can. So in terms of trying to do this, not just in one area and one country, but taking it across the world and doing it via the community members themselves. So they realize, everyone realizes that buying into an NFT project doesn't end at, minting something or sending Ethereum and that's about it. It's about us, all of us, getting actually involved and doing some part of it so that this can become a bigger story. I'm aware of time over here, and Cleet's hand has been raised for quite some time. So Cleet, your question?
Hi, can you guys hear me again?
Yes, we can.
Am I back? Okay. I think documentary photography is definitely one of the strongest storytelling techniques ever, and I can totally see and feel that you have an amazing way of telling your stories. I mean, there's absolutely no way not to get affected by this, as this is a true story, and I respect this so much. What I wanted to ask is that is there any points that we cannot see in this story? Because although our humanity and feelings are driving us to connect and feel empathy, it is still not the same for people who have been in the luckier areas of the world for their whole lives. And I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong about this. And I mean, even though you can reach the water in Africa, that is a really harsh journey, as far as I know. And the location and the pristine lands that weren't affected by the concrete is not something completely relatable to a person who was living in a city for their whole lives. And I know there are dangers you gotta watch out for. I don't know, like leeches you gotta watch out for, or the journey to the water and back to home. I mean, my question is a bit art and storytelling related. So what else that can be done to connect with these people who has no idea what's going on? Like, please don't get me wrong, your art is flawless to me. And I just wanna learn, if you would take it to the next level, what you would add.
Okay, let me get the question right. If you're asking, if I were to get people to connect more with the people they are telling the story about, what would I have done, right? Is that a question?
Yeah, I mean, are there any points, like black points or like blind points, that we cannot see through the story? Because I know it's not about just not being able to find clean water. There's many layers into that story, and that's just me being intrigued into the like issue. But if you were telling to someone who has no idea whatsoever, what would you add? That's my I'm asking this because I want to know more about the storytelling side of the project. That's why.
Okay, I get the question. So what I do, right, I have like a newsletter where I write about the trip. So that way I'm able to add images and stories that ordinarily would not come on OpenSea, right? I'm able to talk about the trip extensively. Like in this community, these people wake up like 4 a.m. and walk quite a distance to go and fetch this dirty water. So it's not, like you mentioned, it's not just about the water diseases. It's actually about, because these women don't feel beautiful enough because they take their bath with dirty water. So it affects the woman herself. It affects how the kids actually feel about themselves, their self-confidence, their self-esteem, and all of that. So I tell that story with the newsletter, which is a long form of writing, right? Which I will tell you that they wake up by 4:30, they go and line up in the dark. Because if you do not go by 4:30 a.m., by 5 a.m., somebody else would have fetched the dirty water. So you are risking maybe snake bites, insect bites, maybe some other harmful stuff on the way, while going. And considering the fact that in our communities, in most African communities, it is the women and children that always go to fetch water. So they are at risk of things that could happen to women, which is they could be molested, they could be raped, they could be kidnapped, a lot of things can go wrong, right? So, but I put that in the newsletter so that for people who are, how would I put it, who are enrolled into reading. So I'm not forcing that out. So if like you are not interested in learning more about it, I can now send you the link to the newsletter so you learn more about the community, how many people are in the community. The girl that, there's a girl called Ifoma, yeah, Ifoma is her name. She will turn 20 this year, and also 20 years, she has never seen clean water, right? And she will not be the same as a 20-year-old in another place, even in Nigeria, that has access to clean water, right? The way she looks at herself will not be the same. The way she carries herself will not be the same. There will still be this thing about self-esteem that she cannot share. There'll still be about maybe she's not comfortable in her own skin, right? There are a lot of things. She was talking about gender-based issues, domestic violence. Do you understand that when these women might go to water, they don't find the water, the men would actually find it offensive that I needed water, where's the water? But they are not the ones going to fetch. They're not the ones waking up by 4 a.m. to go and fetch. They're not the ones putting themselves in harm's way to go and fetch water, right? So there are underlying things like that, right? Which just by giving them water can solve a whole lot of things. Most of these people, their businesses suffer. Most of them can't even go to school, right? I know a kid that doesn't go to school because he had this water skin outbreak, rashes all over his skin. He wasn't comfortable in his skin going to school. So most of them would drop out of school because of the health implication. Most of the women would not actually maximize their time because they still have to wait 3 hours for the water to settle when they use the alarm to actually, what's the word for it? Purifier. The alarm is a purifying agent. So they will wait 3 hours for the water to settle before they can now take their bath, cook for the family, prepare things, and then go for their businesses. So their businesses actually suffer. Their health suffers. They are still in that space of being beaten, abused by their partners because they are not doing the things on time, which actually ties to them not even getting the water on time. So it's a lot of things that if we do like a video documentary where we follow the person talks about it, you see the tears and all of that, and yeah, you could see that more, or you could read the newsletter. You can actually not, because I have to curate the content because of what we are trying to do, water, right? But the whole story of the trip is being told in the newsletter, where I talk about how much I spent, what I spent the money on, where I slept, the things I ate, the things I like about the community, the people in the community, their names, people that, if you go to the community and ask, you could actually see them. These are real life people, and their struggles are something that you might not relate to, but you could understand, right? So that's how I share those kind of content. The long form, because once it's like more than 2,000 words, someone that is not enrolled will not want to read through, right? But someone that is enrolled, that is interested, would actually not find 3,000 words too long for them to read. So I keep those ones for people that are really interested in it, so that they find that kind of information, learn, and most of those newsletters are sent to the people that actually support the work I do, right? Because they want to be a part of what I do. They want to be a part of it. So by giving them this long form content, because like I said, there are pictures that are on the newsletter that I will never post, because they are exclusive content for people that support what we do, right? So those kind of stories would be there because there they will now connect and want to help. They might want to help an individual child. They might want to help an individual woman set up a business for them, try to get them out of poverty and all of that. But that's secondary after you might have read the whole back end of the story. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And I agree. It's not all information is for everybody. And I think one of the important things with telling stories and marketing is once you identify who you are telling the story to and tell them just one thing and tell it well, and the rest of it, when they want to have further details about it, they can go and explore. And I'm really thinking you're talking about the Splashmaker newsletter that comes with the NFT collection, right?
Yes, yes. Make a Splash newsletter. That's the name of the newsletter. Make a Splash.
Splash newsletter that goes to everyone who has bought into your collection. So Thirst in Uzamagu, that's the collection that we were mainly talking about today, but the other collection is also Waterless, depending on your budget and how much you want to how you can support to the project. But I think apart from even buying into the NFT projects or buying into art, Mayor has identified several ways in which you can be part of whatever he's doing, because the vision is big, and there are opportunities for everyone to be a part. So once again, I'd really like to thank everyone who has joined in the conversation today, whether you're watching it live or whether you're going to be watching the recording. NFTs are powerful tools, not just for making amazing change in the world, but also to uncover our own talents and as creators and artists, making us become better versions of ourselves. Because again, there is so much to innovate and create in this space and make connections. So anything you'd like to add to the space, Mayor, before we wrap this chat up?
Okay, let me actually speak to people that are into the NFTs. You're new or you've been here for a while and you've not met Sel. I want to actually encourage you to understand that if what we are doing in the NFTs is actually the beginning, this is actually the early days, it means that there is opportunity for your art to be discovered sometimes long after you're gone, so that you now live like something in your estate for your kids and your grandkids to earn from, to be remembered, so that they can remember you for it, right? What I'm saying is your early art might not sell now, but once you build your personal brand, you become known in the industry. What happens to your first collection is that it becomes more valuable than even the new ones that you're doing. It's the same thing in the art world, right? So the first paintings of these artists, what's more, the more they become famous, right? So don't think about the fact that you're not selling and you're losing faith. Keep building, keep finding partnership, keep finding connections, keep making friends, keep putting out your work, keep intentional in marketing. Marketing means finding the people that want what you do and showing it to them. So keep sharing it for a particular set of people. From one person, another person will meet you. From two, your kind would find you. That's the word for it. Don't be stressed out that you're not selling out. Don't be stressed out. It doesn't mean that your work is not good enough. It just means that right now, at this moment, that you're not selling. But when you're not selling, build your tribe. Find your kind. Find your people. Find the people that are interested and invested in what you do. Because if they don't have the ETH today, they don't have the Tezos today, in the next couple of years, they would have the Tezos, they would have the ETH. And then because they have trusted you over time, they have belonged to this, your tribe, they can now readily just spend the ETH on buying or investing in whatever project you do. The NFTs does not define you as an artist. It's just another platform of you sharing your work and trying to do more good. right? So do not feel bad, don't be depressed. If it's too overwhelming, sometimes take a break. I took a break for 1 month. I didn't talk about NFTs. I didn't go on spaces. I didn't do anything, right? I'm back. My head is, if this was like that month that I took that break, I wouldn't have been on this call because at that point I wasn't even on the internet. I wasn't online, right? So sometimes take time out, take care of yourself, your body, exercise, drink a lot of water, eat vegetables, do fruits. For your mind, take break, minimize your screen time. Do not compare yourself to anybody. You are you. Big artists don't compare themselves to nobody. They just know they are themselves. So this is me giving you all the good vibes, all the positive vibes, wishing you all the very best. It will sell out and you'll be great and you'll do a lot of good. And you might not actually be giving communities water like I do or advocating for women like the BRAVA team does, right? It can actually be you telling more people about the NFT space, onboarding people into the space. That might actually be your work, and that's enough, right? You need to understand that whatever you do is enough good, right? Whether it is you helping someone cross the road, whether it's you helping an elderly person buy stuff in the grocery store, or whether it's you just explaining things for people that are joining the NFT space newly, it is enough. You are enough as a person. You are enough as an artist, and you are also more than enough as an NFT artist. So thank you for having me today. I'm really glad to have spent the last hour here and have this conversation with some very beautiful people.
That's a perfect note to end this conversation with so much positive vibes. Really, truly, it has been our pleasure, and so much hearts and good vibes towards you and whatever you're doing towards your team as well. And thank you so much, Mayor. And let's stay in touch. I think I have found some interesting ways that we could be working together in the future as well. So we would take forward this conversation to another day. And thank you everyone for joining us. And until the next meet and greet Fridays with BRAVA, this is myself, Cryptodragonis, signing off. Have a good one. Cheers. And talk to you guys soon. Love you all.